If you don't like the interface, you can talk to me after. I'm the one designing it, so I take feedback. You have the left panel here, you have the top panel, and then the right panel. The right, next one. So basically, the most important for Omnitool is your API keys. So who knows what is an API key? You get an extra point if you raise your hand. Okay, you want extra point. So basically, AI is not for free. If you need to use AI, you need to have those keys. And those keys are going to allow you, by Teresa. And then basically, this is very important because it's going to help you to use the different kind of models. So you have different kind of providers. Of course, you know ChatGPT, but there is also Replicate, Hugging Face, 11 Labs, and so on. So in this interface, you see on the top left, you're going to have your keys. So either you have only your keys. If you don't have one, we can help you to set up your accounts and to have some things. And those buttons are going to help you to revoke or activate your keys. So usually open source is not so expensive. Disclaimer, ChatGPT 4, if you use it very intensively, you may have a bad result on the money part. It's kind of expensive. So try also to be mindful about what you're doing. ChatGPT is the most expensive. Most of them are very, very cheap. If you pay more than 30 cents or 50 cents for this whole hackathon, that's how much you pay. Okay? If you have any question, please go. Otherwise, I'll just go. File manager. So basically, once you're running things, if you look for files, click on this thing, it's going to have a pop-up window and then you can find all your files. Next one. So we divided these things in two parts. So the blue one are the essential stuff. Those ones are kind of good to know. I'm going to share this document with you. So if you have any questions, you don't know how it works, you can just go through that again and again. It's fine. You will have all access to these things. So this one is the extension, is something a bit more advanced, so we're going to skip it. Next, same thing for developer tools. This is just to track a bit what is your request, how the thing is going on, so good to know, but yes. Local APIs, it's a good to know, but I kind of like them. For example, inside you're having Olama, which is another kind of LLM model, super cool, super interesting. If you have a bit of time, try to see what you have inside, but it's not essential. Then the next one, a newsfeed is just, yeah. Okay, you can set up extensions or favorites. So if you click on your extensions and you click on the heart, basically you can have this kind of shortcuts. Next one, the chat. This is very important. And the next one we're going to see. Because once you click on that, basically, Omnitool interface is based on this kind of a chat system. So as you can see, that's a chat thing. This is where you type your text. Here you're having the comments. So the comments is just, for example, / clear chat and then we clear everything. So it's some kind of stuff that can be useful, but for today, maybe not use it. Speech to text. So for example, if you want to send some kind of information that you just want to talk, you can use that. You can use the camera to take some pictures, and this one is to auto-track. So basically, this is how you're going to kind of interact with your workflow / recipe. That's how we name it. Next, the Discord. So even if you forgot how it was Discord, you click on that, it's going to send you to the Discord channel. Don't hesitate to talk to people, ask questions. We try to be really a cool community, so you will have people to answer to you. Please ask questions, give feedbacks. If you find a bug or something that doesn't work, go to the Discord. Next. Okay, this is kind of the hardcore stuff. On the top panels, you have this thing. So the green button is once you load your recipe, you press it, run, it runs. Then you have these two drop-down menu. Then you have this question mark that's going to explain what you just loaded on your screen, and favorite icons for the things you're doing. Next. So the new recipe, so basically at the very beginning, we named these things recipe, not workflow, because we were the menu is French, and he likes cooking, and he said, I don't want to have workflow, it's boring, I want to have recipe, I want to have ingredients, so no, we have recipe. But basically, it's a workflow. And you have all on the drop-down menu, you have how you can load your recipe, how you can load the recipe from your files, and how you can discover recipe. So this one just recently added. The difference between like load recipe and discover your recipe is just because they have a different kind of setup. Once you load the recipe, you're having this kind of interface. So basically, some of them have like a chat preview. So we have this plugin with WhatsApp. It's just a work in progress now. But basically, it's design of like how could you integrate your workflow into a chatbot. Next one. Load recipe and export recipe. So if you want to share something with someone, you can export the file you're working on, and then somebody else can load it. So basically, you can easily share what you're doing with each other. Disclaimer, you cannot attach files into your workflow. So if you have extra files or whatever, don't forget to send them to, so people can load them. It's just for the workflow itself. Next. Recipe I've made of blocks. We're going to have a video later, but basically, this is the way of how you're going to build all your ingredients for the recipe or the work blocks for your workflow. So we're going to have a video after, it's going to be much clearer. But it's just to go through the interface, and remember, you don't have to remember everything now, we have a file to share. Of course, saving is very important. Save as much, because you can rename the things, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to play you a quick video of like how the things works. So this is an example with replicate. And after that, we're going to do a quick demo a bit later on how the things work and how we're going to do that together. So basically, together, we're going to create some things and we're going to look for.
Omnitool.ai, an open source, open standards, extensible AI lab in a box. Replicate has tons of awesome models. Want to connect them together? For example, if we want to create illustrations for a children's book, the Replicate LLM will craft an effective prompt for the Replicate Diffusion model. This demonstrates how different models are interconnected, with outputs feeding into inputs. From the prompt, we obtained this illustration that is suitable for kids. But we could do more. Let's add another model into this one. Let's find a model that can remove the background from the image. This one looks good. Let's add it to the Omnitool recipe. Copy the name and paste it into Omnitool extension dedicated to Replicate. There is the new block. Let's connect the image output to the input of the remove background block. Let's run it. The block with the blue animation indicates the active process. Here are the results. 2 images from the same prompt, one with the background removed. Using the story of the girl and the dragon in the woods as our input, we simultaneously create a voiceover, an image, and written content. This illustrates our multi-model capabilities, transforming a single input into diverse, concurrent outputs. A narrated story, a visual representation, and text.
Once upon a time, in a far-off land, there was a kind-hearted princess named Leela. She lived in a grand castle.
Omnitool.ai, an open source, open standards, extensible AI lab in a box.
Okay, so this is a quick preview of like what you can do. So the purpose of Omnitool is like, first of all, try to discover. Go explore, for example, on Replicate or whatever. Discover the things you want to do. Basically, you link with your idea, or you're going to give you the idea. Then what you're going to have after that is like you're going to have an understanding. So look at the recipe pre-made, look at the templates, look how they are made, try to tweak them a bit. If you tweak them a bit too much, there is like a reset parameter button on the blocks itself, so it's easy to go back to the default settings. And then once you understand a bit of that, then you can start with it. So I really urge you, first of all, go discover. Try as many models as you can, do some mistakes, try some weird stuff, but then you need to have some kind of interesting knowledge. Once you know how to do that, go to the recipe, see how they are made. You're all smart people, engineers, and so on. So it will be easy for you to understand that. And then you can start with it. I'm going to give you very quick things about like what you can do and what you should not do. So remember about like be a good guy. There is something which is very important now, especially on the world of AI, how it's developing. I'm pretty sure you've heard of like a Taylor Swift and like the things that happened to her. So this is the bad things that can happen online now. So I'm just going to give you a quick idea of like what is the landscape right now of AI, and also some kind of idea of like why is it happening, and also what are the things you should look at. So remember, sometimes you think you know some things, but just be mindful of like you may have some issue with some others, or maybe your idea goes completely wrong. It's not your fault, it's just because sometimes the model are not really well made. So just be mindful of that, and this is why it's very important to know what are the limits of AI. So if you go to the first slide. So basically, AI is changing. I mean, you guys, more than us, you will be like a part of the world of like AI will be part of your job. There is no choice, it's like that. It's something that's going to happen, and you cannot change that, but you have to move with it. It's like this, and you have to also be understanding like these capabilities. It can be scary, but that's something you have to harness. That's something you have also to share if you can, and that's really something like you have to live with these kind of disruptions. It's a fact, and that's nothing that's going to change. So it's not a technology adoption problem, it's a disruption. So it happens, I mean, just a reminder, ChatGPT didn't exist 2 years ago, nobody ever heard of that. Last year it was barely used by maybe like 100,000 users, and I'm pretty sure like all of you have been using it like daily or at least like weekly. So the thing also is about like at one point or another, like I mean, you are the leaders of your team, so try to really embrace that. Try to make strong decisions. It's not about like, you know, oh, we're going to manage this, or that's why like having this idea about like the planet or how it can be more efficient at work. So basically, that's the first step of like you're going to make the changes, you're going to make decisions. Premature adoption is a mistake. So for example, you want to develop a product like for example, you want to do web design. Oh, I want to have a chatbot into my website. Is this a good idea? Is it because you want to follow the hype? Maybe not. Maybe you should think more about that. So try to understand what you want to do. Then after you can try to do adoption of your product. So this is really important. AI literacy is as important of like education on like alcohol and driving. So basically, there is things you shouldn't do, and there is things you should do. So have fun is great, drinking and driving is a very bad idea. Same thing with AI, putting sometimes wrong products into the wrong hands can lead to a catastrophe. Next. AI is only for smart people. I'm the good example, I'm not the smartest one, but I managed to create something. So it's not true. Basically, AI is going to make everybody level. Even coding, even engineering, AI is going to transform that. So basically, you don't have to be the smartest, you don't have to code, you can do anything, anyone can do AI now. And if you think about AI is some kind of like magic button that you can solve everything with it, it's not true, because AI is technology. So don't make people mistake you, oh, I have this wonderful solution, it's going to solve all your problems. No, it's not. It's science, it's technology, and it has limits. So the thing is like what is happening right now. So the thing you will see is also why is it happening. So if you look at now, like I'm pretty sure everybody play with like image generations. You can do any style, anything, literally anything you want. The next one. You can also animate images. So I used to be a motion designer, and this kind of job will have taken me like at least 2 weeks of time, or 1 week if I was fast. Now it can be done in an instant. You can move from 2D to 3D. So these bicycle images were just like a 2D flat images, and basically you can extrapolate all the data and make like a complete rotation of that. You can create movies with text. So okay, this is kind of like why sometimes you should be cautious about like what people are saying with AI. This has been introduced, but not yet released, not been tested. There are some kind of other working great, but sometimes when they sell you products, it's a bit too beautiful to be true. But this is really like something on the ramp. video generation is the next thing to happen at a high scale and to be high quality. Currently it's kind of like working okay, but now it's going to be the next thing. Next. Okay, something, I don't know if some of you want to work into the video game industry. Anyone? Okay. How to do 3D models? Basically, you can also now start to type text. You can have also analysis from like flat images to make them 3D. So basically, creating prototypes of 3D scenes can be done like that in an instant. So it's not about like it's going to be doomsday is the end of your life. It's just like you're going to have tools that's going to help you to be much more efficient. It's also going to help you to be much more creative. So don't think it's a limit. Think it's a kind of like a superpower that you can unleash. If you look at images, so basically like image recognition is something that's working quite well now. So for example, this one is like a CCTV camera, and then you can do analysis of like what's going to happen. The next, you can even do like a JSON style of like a pigeon feeding. So basically you can ask anything. Next one. That's something I'm doing quite often because after Chinese New Year I eat too much pineapple tart. You can also track any kind of data based on images. So this is kind of like the thing that working the best now is like analyze data and images. What can you choose? Next. You can also perform data analysis. I think that's one of like the things why LLMs are the best at, is like give them a huge chunk of data and then everything can be sorted. So basically, I can use like a data from HDB and I want to have graphs, can click on the next one. And basically you can sort me out articles, graph, and everything. Everything can be sorted like within seconds if you can give them the right amount of data. So data solving is like those things to do with that. I'm using that quite a lot. And the next one, and you can also create content from it. Next. And of course you can code. I mean, I never code of my life and I can do some simple JavaScript animation with that. So, I don't know if you use Copilot or something like that, but this is so cool. Next. So basically now, everybody can do anything. It's not something bad. A good example is like me, I was like a graphic designer, I was a director doing movies, but now everyone can do it. It's not a problem, it's just like now you have the ability to create whatever you want. And this is so cool. Honestly, I wish I could be like 20 years younger and I could restart my career with that. I would be so happy. So many ideas, I say, I don't know how to do it. No, you can. There is no excuse of not doing it. Next. But why is it happening now? Why suddenly like this technology emerged? So basically like the first real use case of like AI was used by post office to recognize handwriting to sort the letters faster. The thing also is like, the way of AI is training AI. So basically you can see on those graphs how like every time a new AI technology, AI branch is going out, is crossing this threshold of like, is it doing that better than human or not? So currently now everything shooting at a straight light is like, so that's why like a video or when you get to have like a large action model where like a computer can do some things, they will be much faster, much better than you very soon. But again, don't be scared, just harness this power. Next one. Also the models. Now they can, so model context length is like how many data they can use and how much data they can give you back. These numbers have been shooting up the sky because they are smarter and smarter. They can assimilate much more data than before. But also the hardware. So basically you have all heard of like NVIDIA is kind of like the king of like the GPU and processing. So Moore's law is one thing, Huang's law is another one, but currently with the trends we can see, there is nothing stopping of like how all these things are going to work faster. Just an indication, currently the only people making money with AI is NVIDIA and the people who are running like all the servers. All the other ones, they are losing money, but that's another subject. Open source. That's the reason why Omnitool is open source. This is a line. This is stable diffusion. So stable diffusion has broken the record of like 33,600 stars on GitHub in its first 90 days. That's the things like Bitcoin did in something like 10 years, I would guess. So open source is the key of why is it exploding now. Next one. If you go to Hugging Face and you look at the numbers of LLMs, and that's the numbers of last week, and I'm pretty sure it's already up by another 1,000 more. So the number is, currently you have 17,324 new models. That's a lot of numbers. And the good thing and the bad thing. So if you look at like the things like classification is the things you have, for example, into like Tesla cars to identify what you have on the street. So it gives you probability of what you may have. So this is what is like, that's computer vision. And this is kind of super safe to use. And next one. The problem with vision transformer, that's another thing. So if you give him an image, like the pigeon or the food I was posting before, it takes the things in context. All the things are like analyzed, and sometimes, you don't know why, but it may give you something very wrong. So basically, if you want to do video surveillances, but you're having these kind of things, you may have 5 to 10% of it doesn't work. So be careful of what you're doing. It's not working great all the times, and sometimes for no reason, it's like completely bad. So remember that, and also it's subject to human bias, because you don't know how it's been trained, because when you do training of a model, sometimes you're having human giving feedback. So you don't know how it was trained properly, so be careful of that. So GenAI is not that good yet, so basically it's something like, I don't know if you try ChatGPT, but ChatGPT never say no to you. It always give you an answer. So try to think about like, what is it to have someone which is like super duper smart, but does not always tell the truth. So that's the problem you have. So it works, but not all the time. And what is happening with the perception of AI with the people? The problem you're having now is because if you look at the stats from the US, most of the people are concerned. They are scared because they can lose their job, they're scared because they've heard like all these horrible headlines on the news, or they're scared because they're reading like a LinkedIn and all this kind of like, oh my god, it's changing so fast, it's so great, but I might do have some bad things happening. And the reason why is because it happens. A lot of bad things happens because basically people just use AI in a bad way, or they didn't know it could do that. So I'm going to give you an example of the next slide. But people say, oh yeah, but there is all this AI content, like fake images of Donald Trump being arrested or whatever. Can we just check if it's true or not? No, we can't, not now. It's not really accurate. So if your idea is like, oh, I want to detect all the AI content, well, good luck with that because it's not something you can really do now. Next one. So there is something. If you want to deploy a chatbot inside your website, just think that even OpenAI doesn't have an AI chatbot into their website. To tell you why is because if you have a ChatGPT as a bot, you can ask him anything. So that's the reason why even them, into their FAQ questions, they don't have a single chatbot. So why is ChatGPT asking you to do all these kind of things? Basically, they do data acquisition. So that's something also you need to think about. If you want to create a solutions and oh, I'm going to solve some kind of like a problem with like a health. So I'm going to put like all the health data of these people into ChatGPT is not a good idea because this data is private and what you're doing is just feeding that to ChatGPT. So think about the consequences you may have about if you want to do some things, what kind of model are you using? Is it a ChatGPT? Is it a local model? Is it something else? So be mindful about what kind of data you're using and where you're going to put it. Don't be a bad person. Sometimes you can be bad just because you think it's fun. It's not. It has consequences. You know, like for example, like in Singapore, is one of the country the most scammed in the world. There is the most scam. You know who is the main target of lots of scams? Any idea? It's Gen Z people and the most likely women. So the numbers of like spam people in Singapore, I think is something like 70% are like women between 20 to 25. You have people, you can discover that also. It's very easy to clone voices. So you can have models in replicate where you can just send a sample of voices and you can reuse that, link that to like a text-to-speech, and basically it's like somebody you love or yourself can say something else with the same voice. So be careful of that. It's not because it's fun that you should do it. Think about the consequences of what you want to do. On the other hand, if you want to scam the scammers, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. That's one. Because you are the amazing guys, you are the good one, so try to do something great. And that's cats, because cats is cool.